Let's be honest with one another. Getting along with people is challenging, right? Absolutely. I was driving out of my subdivision the other day, and I spoke to one of the neighbors who was going for a walk. And in the short conversation he had, life would be great if it wasn't for the people. Well, life would also be pretty dismal if there wasn't people. But I understood what he was saying. Let me confess that I get frustrated on more than a few occasions with individuals. So do I just ignore certain people altogether? Do I run in the opposite direction when I see them coming? What about people, as we've been talking in the program today, that don't share my worldview? How do I handle them? Am I willing to embrace them in a way that represents the one that I claim is my leader and Lord, and that is Jesus Christ? You see, today's passage, as we study in the book of Ephesians, gives us insight into how we're to view our own humanity, how Christ wants us to behave towards others, and where we can find the strength to love as Christ loved us. We're reading some verses from Ephesians chapter 4, verses 1 to 7. Let me jump over a few of them. But Paul begins, he says, as a prisoner for the Lord. There he is in a Roman prison, and he could be said that he was under the prison of the Roman government. But he says, I'm a prisoner of the Lord. And he says, I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling that you've received. Be completely humble and gentle, patient and bearing with one another in love. Oh my, that's all about relationships, isn't it? And make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, he says, just as you were called to one hope when you were called to Christ. There's one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. But to each one of us, grace has been given as Christ has apportioned it. And the beautiful thing here is that we discover that in relationships, God gives us grace. It's the grace that he demonstrated when from the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. You know, many books have been written on identity, and Paul simply says, I'm a prisoner of the Lord. And that statement sets the mood for what he's going to say next. There is a call here to live a life that is worthy of the calling that says we are the children of God. But how is that to be done? How does that get fleshed out? Well, he explains it within the context of our relationships and especially with fellow believers. And many times I've heard story after story of how Christians can't get along with each other. Someone once said, to dwell above with saints we love, that will be glory. But to live below with the ones I know, that's another story. I hope that's not your case. But here's the skinny on this passage. This is not rocket science, what Paul is teaching us, but we do need divine help. And the help is there if we will ask God for his grace. There's 4 B's. He says here in this passage, be humble, be gentle, be patient. And the implication is we're to be supportive of one another. And we're to do all this in a spirit of love. He says, make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of Christ. I think of that phrase, make every effort. And I think back to my high school days when I would do track and field, and you're coming to the last turn and you give it that extra burst. The coach would say, give it all you have. And Paul is saying, give it all you have in keeping unity in the body of Christ. I need to remember that I am the Lord's servant, and I show him respect. I show that he is my leader and Lord by the way I respond to the nudge of the Spirit, not to walk away from people who have different worldviews, and certainly not to walk away from brothers and sisters who maybe have offended me or said something to me that I don't want to hear, but I need to be there to embrace them and show them that they are loved of Christ, that I understand what it means to march to the beat of the one who gave his life for me. But to do that, we need grace, and grace is available for us today.